Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. Today I am sharing another What's for Dinner video. I filmed 4 of our dinners this week and 1 dessert. I hope you enjoy this video and get some ideas and inspiration. We started our week with chili. This is a family favorite, especially during the colder months. I use 1 pound of ground beef, 1 bell pepper, 1 onion, and about 4 stalks of celery that are chopped up. I use 2 cans of beans and 2 cans of tomato sauce, a bay leaf, and some chili powder, and of course some salt and pepper. I am going to start off by browning my meat in a large pot. I'm just using some avocado oil, and I'm going to use this little masher that I have to break up the meat. I do like to season my meat as I'm cooking it, so I'm using salt, pepper, and some chili powder. Once my meat is completely browned, I am going to add my chopped veggies, and I'm going to stir everything together, and I'm going to continue stirring it off and on until all the veggies are softened. To my pot, I'm going to add 2 cans of tomato sauce. Now, if you like chunkier chili, you can omit one of the tomato sauce cans and substitute diced tomatoes, but my kids are really picky and do not like cooked tomatoes. So I'm going to also add 2 cans of water. I'm going to stir everything together, and I'm also going to drain the beans and rinse them and add them to the pot as well. I'm going to season the chili with some salt, pepper, and chili powder, and I'm going to put the pot on low heat, and I'm going to cook it with the lid propped open for about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. This will thicken the chili significantly. If you want it a little bit more thickened, you can simmer it without the lid so more steam escapes. But this is my bowl of chili. I like to top it with onions, tomatoes, cheese, and sour cream. So my husband has hinted twice that he would like some apple pie, so I finally got around to making him some. And I'm starting off by making the crust. I'm just using 2.5 cups of flour, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of sugar, and 2 sticks of butter. I will link this recipe down below for you. It has been my to-go recipe for many years now. And I'm just going to pulse the butter and the flour together until the butter is cut down to pea-sized pieces. And then I'm going to start adding the cold water. I'm dividing the dough in half, wrapping up each half in saran wrap, and this is going to go into the fridge just until I am done making the filling for the apple pie. For the filling, I use about 8 to 10 apples depending on the size. You can use any apple you have. I know Granny Smith and Empire are great, but we had Gala apples, so that's what I'm using. I'm just peeling them, slicing them, putting them in a bowl, and I'm going to toss them with some sugar, cinnamon, salt, and flour. Once my filling is ready, I just took out one of the discs from the fridge. I put some flour on it. I'm going to roll it out and then place it into my pie dish. Once all of the apples are in the crust, I am going to top them with about 2 tablespoons of chopped up butter. Next, I'm going to work on the top of my pie. You don't have to make a lattice. You can just roll out the dough and place it on top of your pie and make some slits. But I do enjoy making a lattice for my pie. And I am just going to use a pizza cutter to slice it into about 1-inch strips. And I'm going to weave the lattice over the pie. I am pressing down the top and bottom crust together to make it stick. I'm just trimming off all of the excess and I am going to crimp the edges. Once that is done, I like to brush the top of my pie with an egg wash. This will give it a beautiful golden color. After many years of making pies, I have determined that it is very important to bake it at 450 for 20 minutes and then reduce the heat to 375 and finish baking it for 50 to 60 minutes. The high heat sets the pie and makes sure that it does not collapse in the middle. Next, I made stuffed bell peppers. This is my husband's favorite meal to eat. He gets very excited when I make this. I'm using some peppers. I need 2 onions, about 2 carrots. I also need some cooked rice. I love this Trader Joe's organic cooked rice. I just keep it in the freezer and take it out whenever I need it. It's very convenient. It's about 2 cups of rice. I also need some tomato sauce and of course some ground beef. I am going to start by shredding 2 of my carrots. Now I am going to try and link the slicer down below. I got it a couple years ago and I'm not sure if I can still find it, but I'll link something similar down below for you. And then I am chopping up 1 of my onions as well. In a large skillet, I am going to saute the carrots and the onions until they are completely softened and just about starting to get golden. Into a large bowl, I'm adding my 1 pound of meat, my 2 cups of cooked rice, and my cooked veggies. I'm going to season this with salt and pepper, and I will use my stand mixer to combine the mixture together. Now, we do not like dry stuffed peppers. I always like to make a sauce to go over them. And to make the sauce, I am shredding 1 onion. I like to shred it to make sure there's no large pieces in the sauce. I am going to saute the onion on the same skillet that I just used for the veggies. I'm going to saute the onions until they are starting to turn golden. Once the onions are turning golden, I am going to add about 3 cloves of garlic, and I'm going to saute the garlic for about 30 seconds, and then I will add 1 can of tomato sauce, 1 can of water, and some seasonings. To season the sauce, I'm just using salt, pepper, basil, and oregano. I'm going to stir everything together and reduce the heat to low and just simmer it gently until I am ready for the sauce. I washed my bell peppers and now I'm just cutting them in half, taking out the core, and I'm just placing them on a casserole dish. And then I just stuff the bell peppers with the filling. Lastly, I poured the sauce that I just made all over the bell peppers and just poured the remainder on the bottom of the pan. I am going to cover this with foil and I'm going to bake this at 350 for about an hour and a half to an hour and 45 minutes. When I serve this, I like to serve the bell peppers with the sauce poured over them and topped with some sour cream and parsley. Next, I made chicken cutletti or chicken patties or chicken nuggets, whatever you want to call them. This is my kids' favorite thing to eat. I am going to use about 3 pounds of chicken breasts and 1 large onion. I am just dicing this up into large pieces because I am going to use a grinder and grind the meat and the onions together. You can also buy ground chicken or ground turkey and just shred up the onion really small if you do not have a grinder. My grinder just attaches to my KitchenAid mixer, and I like to cover the grinder and bowl, kind of make a little tent out of the saran wrap just to prevent any of the juices from splattering all over my kitchen counters or flying and hitting the floor somewhere. Once my chicken has been ground up, I'm going to add 1 cup of panko crumbs into a measuring cup. I'm going to pour about half a cup of milk over it and let that stand for a little bit. Then I'm going to add 1 egg and the panko crumb mixture into the ground chicken, add some salt, pepper, and paprika. And I am going to mix this all up using my stand mixer. I am adding some vegetable oil into a large skillet and preheating it on low to medium heat, and I'm just going to use some Italian breadcrumbs to coat my chicken patties. I just scoop up a little bit and shape the chicken patty while dipping it into the breadcrumbs, and then I just add it into the hot oil. I am frying these on medium to low heat. You do not want your oil too hot or they will cook on the outside and be raw on the inside. And then I just flip them over when they turn golden brown. Once they are cooked, I transfer them to a plate lined with some paper towels to collect all the excess oil. Next, I am making my potato wedges. I love to use gold potatoes for my wedges. I prefer skin on, but my kids will not eat them with the skin, so I have to peel them. I'm just peeling some potatoes and then I'm going to cut them into wedges and place them in a large bowl. I am seasoning the potatoes with some avocado oil, salt, pepper, paprika, and the Montreal steak seasoning. I'm just tossing the potatoes together with the seasoning and oil. Then I will transfer them to a lined sheet that I lined with some parchment paper to make it easy to clean up afterwards. I am making sure that they are all in a single layer, and I'm going to roast them at 375 for about 45 minutes to 1 hour. And at the last 5 minutes, I like to broil them to make sure they are crispy, and I broil them on high for about 4 to 5 minutes. For the vegetable side, I am using broccoli, and I just like to steam my broccoli in this steaming basket for 6 minutes, and then I toss it with butter, salt, pepper, and some garlic powder. So this is what my dinner plate looked like. So delicious, so good. I like to dip the chicken patties and the wedges into the Lighthouse brand ranch. So good. Next, I made beef stew. This is another winter favorite meal of ours. I'm adding 1 pound of stew cut meat into a large pot. I'm seasoning the meat with salt, pepper, and cumin, and I'm just going to brown the meat on medium heat. You will also need 1 diced onion, 3 sliced carrots, and 1 can of tomato sauce. And next, I'm going to peel some russet potatoes. I'm going to cut them in half, and then I'm going to cut them into wedges. Once the meat has been browned, I'm adding my chopped onion and carrots. I'm going to stir everything together, and as I am stirring, I will be trying to scrape off the bottom, get all that goodness off of there. And meanwhile, while the veggies are cooking, I'm going to prepare my beef broth. I just use this better than bouillon beef broth. I'm using 1 heaping tablespoons and 2 cups of water. Just stirring all that together and getting it ready. Once the veggies have been softened and I'm done scraping the bottom, I'm going to add a couple cloves of garlic and saute it for about 30 seconds until the aroma is released. Then I will add my 1 can of tomato sauce, 1 can of water, and then the beef bouillon mixture. Next, I'm going to add 1 bay leaf, about 2 teaspoons of salt, and a little bit of pepper. Stir everything together and add my potatoes. Now Now make sure the liquid completely covers your potatoes. I had to add 2 more cups of water. I'm going to bring this to a boil, and then I'm going to reduce this to low heat and prop the lid on top and cook this for about an hour and a half. An hour and a half later, the stew is done. The meat is so tender, the potatoes are nice and soft. I really hope you enjoyed this video and got some ideas or inspiration for your meals. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys all in my next video.